This one got smacked right in this left rear quarter panel. I'm gonna scribe my final cut points. So this one is good and ready to weld together. I have a Toyota RAV4 here. This one got smacked right in this left rear quarter panel here. I destroyed it, and it's also gonna get this side gutter piece goes right there, which is all wadded up in this area. New quarter panel right here as well. First, I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna make a quick pull on this quarter panel to roughly pull that damage out before I start cutting it apart. Since this panel is getting replaced, I just went ahead and drilled a hole in the middle of it. I'm gonna put this plate back here, use this to pull off of. So this quarter panel is going to get sectioned in right in this area, then right in here. There's actually a measurement that had me measure 80 millimeters down from right here and 30 millimeters down from right there. And those are going to be my final sectioning joints. And then this car also has a dog leg procedure to section this bottom section in. So I'm going to use this cut joint as my bottom joint. And it's 220 millimeters down from right here. So I'm going to mark that. Cut these a little short to start with, and then I'll trim back to my final cutting points. So I'm going to go ahead and get this panel cut off and get this back piece cut off. Now I have this quarter panel roughly sitting on there. I'm going to scribe my final cut points. Then I will lift this panel back off and I'll finish trimming the car out to where I have a perfect cut right here. So I have this quarter panel roughly sitting on there. I'm gonna go ahead and I gotta fit up my back door to make sure this part of the panel is sitting correctly. Then I'm also going to make sure everything back here is fitting correctly. So I'm gonna do that. Once I get it sitting right where it's supposed to be, it'll be ready to weld on. Now that gap looks perfect, exactly what we want. So now I'm going to check the back. All right, let's see how this thing is fitting together. My gaps back here look very nice. They match side to side. I know I already have my door gap, so this one is good and ready to weld together. Go through and do my compression spot welding through all of this area first. Then I have to MIG weld the seams, and there's some MIG welds on the back here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one, pull the taillight back out, and get everything covered back up and start welding. Always want to disconnect the battery before you start welding. Now, I don't know if you guys could see this, but I went ahead and ground down my weld at my seam here, and there's a little pinhole right here, which happens every once in a while, but you don't want to leave those. Reason being is if you fill over that, if moisture ever gets to the backside, it's especially important on like rocker panels and stuff like that, but it's important anywhere. If moisture gets to the backside, it will come through that pinhole and it will cause that body filler to start popping right here. As long as you have a good, solid welded seam with no pinholes and you apply quality body filler correctly, it'll never be a problem, it won't fail. But if you leave pinholes, it will get moisture through it and start popping loose. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna zap that pinhole up. Just like that. Now you guys might see the tape I have right here. The reason for that is that's where window urethane goes, where that piece of quarter glass gets glued in, and you don't want to put body filler there. You got to put epoxy primer, which is what I'll do later, but I put tape there so I don't get body filler on it whenever I fill this spot right here. So before I prime this, I'm going to tape off where the window urethane goes, because I'll have to put epoxy primer down on that area. So this is the lift gate for that Toyota RAV4 that I just primed up, and it gets seam sealer all the way around where the outer skin of this panel folds around the shell. It has to be sealed up, so I'm going to scuff it up, then tape it off and lay out a nice bead of seam sealer all the way around. Now the stuff I'm using is called 3M Easy Sand. It's actually made as a plastic bumper cover repair or any type of plastic repair, but they also promote it for seam sealer, and it's self-leveling. So all the brush strokes actually smooth out and it levels out on its own. You just have to make sure you pull the tape before it dries, otherwise it will mess up your seam sealer. It'll pull it all loose. So this is the epoxy primer that I'm going to put down here where the window urethane goes.